Ranking 5 of my most recent fragrance purchases. And as it turns out, I bought all 5 of these in a day because that's kind of what I do. So I was in New York City with a few friends yesterday, and of course, we ended up picking up a bunch of fragrances. I ended up getting about 5 of them from a few different places, as a matter of fact. I went to the Bond Boutique, I went to Stell, we went to Oswald, and then Scent Bar, which is on Elizabeth Street. So I'm going to be ranking these 5 most recent purchases of mine, and I'm going to let you know what I think of each one of them. And I think it goes without saying that the reason I bought them is because I genuinely love them. So before I dive into the video, I do want to mention that if you're a fan of perfume-related content, and of course, if you love smelling your best, hit subscribe, hit that neighboring bell, and also give this video a thumbs up for the algorithm. It goes such a long way and it's absolutely free. I love you all so much. Thank you so much for the viewership. Thank you for spending the next 8 minutes of your time with me today. So with that being said, I know a lot of these can be quite costly. As a matter of fact, one of these I paid over $500 for. So do yourself a favor, check out ScentSplit.com. They are a fantastic service to use. I've been using them since like 2014, 2015. You can get a sample, you can get a decant, you can try it on your own skin, see how it interacts with your skin chemistry, and then of course, if it is in alignment with your personal taste, you can commit to the purchase of a full-size bottle, which by the way, you can also purchase on ScentSplit. So they have really good deals on a lot of really hard to find niche and designer fragrances. I know one of these is like a 30 ml bottle and it sells for like $200. So again, even something like that, you don't want to make that commitment, especially if you don't know if you're going to end up loving it. And that fragrance, coincidentally, I don't have the note breakdown for it because it's a brand that doesn't really divulge notes. That's kind of how they're operating. That's part of their whole brand. But I'm going to let you know what I personally get from that fragrance. So with that being said, let's just go ahead and dive into the list. So the first one that I purchased is by Profumum Roma, and this one is called Fretia 1921. And I think this one was inspired by the owner of Oswald's grandfather, who had like a shaving soap or something of that nature. This is actually an exclusive to Oswald, and they have a few exclusives. They have Moringa, they also have Fretia 1921, and this one is a very pleasant gourmand. I love the gourmands that Profumum Roma has to offer. As a matter of fact, they have one called Sorriso, which is a very rich chocolate fragrance. They have one called Confetto, which is a lot of like almond and vanilla. It almost kind of has like the sugary vibe to it as well. It does get compared to Pink Sugar by Aquilina, or no, I'm sorry, that one is Acqua e Zucchero. That one gets compared to Pink Sugar by Aquilina. Confetto gets compared to Pegasus by Parfum de Marly. It kind of has like that sweet, sugary, almondy vibe. It's a lot sweeter though. So they do have a lot of incredibly sweet fragrances, which I love. And the thing about this brand as well is that their fragrances, from what I was told by somebody who used to work at Oswald way back in the day when they were located at a separate location, is that their fragrances are concentrated at 40% oil. So these are no joke. And the bottles themselves are actually refillable. I haven't even started talking about how this one smells. So you take off the atomizer, there's like a travel cap that you can use with it. So if you want to use it as a splash, you can. But this is a beautiful gourmand. I'm getting a heavy dose of vanilla. But interestingly enough, on skin, and I haven't even looked at the note breakdown, I get these impulsive buys from time to time, I also pick up on like a little bit of a leathery vibe. So I don't know if there's something spicy in here as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and call this one a spicy vanilla. I really love the aesthetic of these bottles. Like I said, I have purchased so many from this brand. The first one that I ever bought by Profumum Roma is called Batito Dali, which is this beautiful African orange flower type of a perfume. And the name itself is also pretty cool. Batito Dali, it means the flutter of wings. So this is an Italian brand. And again, they have several exclusives with Oswald. I don't know if they ship them though. So you can probably give them a call. Daniel, who works there, is incredible. Alex is incredible. Give them a call And of course, if this one is carried at ScentSplit, you can also get a sample from ScentSplit. That would be my suggestion to you. This way, you don't have to worry about committing to the purchase of a full-size bottle, which in this case, I think is like $300, right? Let's move on to the next one. So this one is really, really interesting. And I know a lot of their fragrances, not this one, but I know a lot of their fragrances are made by Prin Lomros, who is an amazing perfumer. I'm familiar with his work from Zoologist, and I can't recall exactly which ones he's done for Zoologist, but I know a lot of his fragrances are very experimental. They're very dark, kind of brooding at times. This one is made by a different perfumer, and this one is by Tada Parfumer, and it's called Perpetual. This is a really interesting fragrance. There's cocoa, there's this chocolate accord, but then there's also lavender. And I remember trying this at the store, and I was actually torn between this one and another one, which I think was a tea-based offering, and they also have one that is kind of foresty. This one, I just fell in love with how it's sweet. It has these gourmand properties, but it also has this pleasant aromatic heart. Now, here's the thing. This is not a perfume that I would recommend for everyone. Absolutely not. Not by any stretch of the imagination. As a matter of fact, I think this is a fragrance that, in my opinion, is only going to resonate with like 10% of the population. So I'm not even necessarily talking about these fragrances because I think they're going to be fantastic and mass appealing. I love this one. This was one of my top 2 or 3 favorites from the brand. The reason I went with this one versus the forest one, the name of which I just can't remember, is I found this one to be one that I could see myself wearing most often. So by Tada Parfumer, it's called Perpetual. Really cool cap as well. I'm not even sure what this is made out of. But this is, I mean, it could very well, it's not plastic, but it's really cool. I love the shape of it. I love the logo. And this stuff is incredibly strong. Like I sprayed this at Stell, where I purchased it, which is on Mott Street. The folks who work there are incredible. Give them a visit if you're living in Manhattan or in the tri-state area. They are a phenomenal experience. They also have a boutique in Williamsburg, which is the first one that I visited and made a few purchases from. This one is fantastic. I am super excited to have this one in my collection. And this one is going to get a lot more use from me, especially in the fall and winter. Performance is great. I sprayed it on the blotter at the boutique. And before I even brought it up to my nose, I was already able to detect the smell. Like it's so strong. It's so charismatic. It is super bold. Now, the next one I bought because I think the bottle looks super cool. And I also love the way that it smells. It wasn't until I got home and I actually gave it a full wearing that I was like, okay, this actually reminds me of another fragrance that I have in my collection and one that I've owned for many, many years now. It was the first fragrance that I ever purchased from this brand. That fragrance being Electric Wood by Room 1015. And the owner of the brand, I believe his name is Dr. Mike. He plays electric guitar. So he fashioned a perfume around the smell of an electric guitar, which is, you know, the wood, whether it be mahogany or cedar or what have you. And this one actually does smell like a peppery cedarwood type of a scent. I almost went with another one from this brand called Boar, which I think B-O-A-R, like the animal. So they have fragrances named after animals, not in a zoologist type of a way, but they actually convey more of a gothic tone. This one is also going to get a lot of use from me this fall and winter. So I think one of the things that you'll probably notice is that a lot of these DNAs are actually quite heavy. So I don't have a lot of citrusy or aquatic or ozonic or oceanic fragrances on this list, but this one is called Wolf. And I think the name of it, or the name of the brand, I should say, is Wolf Brothers. I haven't looked into it too much. Honestly, it was an impulsive buy. I was at Stell and I asked them what the price of this would be. And I think they said like 160, 170. I don't remember off the top of my head. But this is Wolf. And on the label here, it says Wild Slavic fragrance. And this one was really good. There's also an extrait, which is housed in a red bottle. I was told that one has more of like a vanilla characteristic in the dry down, so perhaps a little bit sweeter. And I said, look, if I'm gonna buy a perfume called Wolf, I want it to be dark. I don't want it to have any sweet tendencies, although I'm enjoying this one a lot, and I love that woodsy characteristic about it. It's dark, it's woodsy, it's foresty, it's peppery without smelling piney or ambery or balsamic. It's a very dry type of a wood smell. It's a very pensive and brooding fragrance, and I love it for that reason. So again, I got this one from Stell. I don't know if ScentSplit is going to carry this one, but I am making this list separate from what ScentSplit carries. This is a 100% organic and truthful list because these are legitimately fragrances that I purchased yesterday. So I'm just kind of giving them the spotlight here. And interestingly enough, I am talking about 4 fragrances on this channel for the first time ever. There's only one fragrance that I actually repurchased, which is the very next one. And I just don't know what happened. I bought this fragrance, believe it or not, on eBay of all places many years ago because they were shipping from Italy. And there was like some Italian seller that was able to sell them for a really good price way back in the day. So I think I bought like 4 or 5 from this brand from eBay. And now just the convenience aspect can't be beat. So if I'm in Manhattan, of course, I'm going to end up buying something from this brand. And more recently, I picked up a backup of Baraonda. So now you know the brand is Nasomatto, which is an Italian. I think it's a portmanteau, so it's a combination of 2 words, naso, which means nose, and matto, which means crazy. And I think that's kind of a nickname, as it were, for the perfumer who is Alessandro Gottieri. He has done so many incredible fragrances for this brand. Black Afghano is probably the most iconic one. The first one that I ever purchased from this brand is called Duro, which is a very dark, woodsy, spicy, leathery fragrance with a hint of amber. This one is actually chocolate and magnolia, from what people have said online. Again, this is a brand that doesn't reveal the notes, which is totally fine. But this one I absolutely love. It's so classy, it's so refined and distinguished, but it also has a hint of romance about it as well. And this one is Pardon. I love this one. If you ask me what my top 3 Nasomatto fragrances are, I wouldn't put Narcotic Venus at the top of that list. I would not put Blamage at the top of that list. I would not put Fantomas at the top of that list. There's a lot of, and by the way, that one, if I'm remembering correctly, has a lot of cashmere on. I know some people online said it smells like a fog machine, like the fog that comes out of a fog machine, which is really interesting. But Pardon is incredible. This is one of those brands where whenever they come out with a brand new fragrance, I buy it. And I have to pay a crazy shipping cost because, you know, I believe his atelier is located in Denmark, if I'm not mistaken, or Amsterdam. Pardon me. Yeah, it's Amsterdam. So Alessandro Gottieri is incredible. I've had the pleasure of meeting him in person towards the beginning of this year or the tail end of last year. I don't quite remember, but it was a really interesting event in Manhattan. And he is as crazy in person as he is on camera, because there is like an indie film centered around him, which I suggest you watch. But Pardon is an incredible fragrance. The chocolate in here is so beautifully done. As a matter of fact, these two convey a very similar vibe, Perpetual and Pardon, the chocolate, but they're also kind of floral and aromatic. So it's a beautiful DNA. And this is one that I truly love. So glad that I got a backup bottle. Although I must say, the liquid in this one is green. I don't know what's up with that. This is what I had from Absinthe, which was another Nasomatto that I purchased many years ago. That one is a wormwood / artemisia type of a fragrance. And of course, you use wormwood to create absinthe, which is a spirit that was said to have hallucinogenic effects, but you're not going to go crazy wearing it. Anyway, Pardon is incredible. The fragrance that I think I'm going to get the most use out of, if I'm being honest with you, is the fragrance in the #1 spot. This is actually also, believe it or not, the one that I think is the least suited for the fall and winter. if I'm being honest with you, I think this is kind of an all year round scent. And I looked it up and I think there's like pineapple and blackcurrant and it's a bunch of notes. And this is the one that I purchased from the Bond Boutique. And the gentleman who assisted me was amazingly helpful, super passionate. Hats off to him. I mean, I love the guy. He is super cool. And the service that he gave us was top notch. I will be going back, and honestly, I've been to the flagship boutique several times, which, as the name implies, is located on 9 Bond Street. And I was actually torn between this one, Fidei, and Sutton Place. And I tried Sutton Place on my skin, and I thought it gave off kind of like an old school vibe, which I actually really like, believe it or not. If you can imagine Gravity by Coty or Dracar Noir by Guy Laroche, that is kind of the vibe that I was getting from Sutton Place. And I almost bought it, and the bottle is super cool. The texture on it, the brown aesthetic to it. But I ended up going with this one, which I actually really, really, really like. And this one is called Beekman Place. And also, again, I think it's the same texture on Sutton Place. It's a beautiful fragrance. Highly diffusive. There's a hint of sweetness in here as well, almost like a sugary thing happening in the background. The reason I say that is because it wasn't until after I had gotten home when I gave it a full wearing and I tried it on skin outside of that environment in which I was sampling like 50 different fragrances, right? When I realized that this one actually reminds me a bit of CH for Men by Carolina Herrera. And that is one that I absolutely love. I bought 2 bottles of it, pre-reform and post-reform. They both smell pretty good. Like, I don't think you should go online looking for the one that had the little tab on the front of the bottle. This one is, of all of these here, probably the most masculine leaning, right behind Wolf, because of that heavy dose of cedarwood. But this one by Bond No. 9, incredible fragrance. I personally love it. I think if you look online, you can probably find it for a better price. But all things considered, I really, really like this one. And I also am going to suspect that the compliment factor on this one is going to be very high as well. I love Bond. I have everything from Highline to Chinatown, Central Park West. I have Ode to New York, Andy Warhol Face Edition, Success is a Job in New York, Silver Factory. I mean, I have some of the iconic Bond No. 9 fragrances where they had that agreement with the Andy Warhol Foundation for the Visual Arts before it expired, and then they changed the presentation on so many of their bottles. But anyway, I just wanted to very quickly go over my 5 most recent purchases, all of which happened in a day over the course of a few hours. And this is what I do. I'm obsessed with fragrances. I have a very strong passion for fragrances. And it seems like I buy a fragrance every day, every other day. That's just how I am. Oh, actually, I also bought another fragrance yesterday, but I bought it on the TikTok shop. So that one's probably not going to come in the mail for another few days. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for joining me. I really hope you took something of value from this video, and I really hope you appreciated my take and my very quick run through of these 5 scents. If you took anything of value from today's episode, please do consider supporting the channel by clicking subscribe, hitting the bell, and also giving this video a thumbs up for the algorithm. It would mean so much to me. Listen, I love you all. Thank you for spending your time with me. I appreciate you all, and we'll see you tomorrow with a new episode.